This time I'd like to welcome Dave Adley, the VP of Sales and Customer Support for Bonfire.
That's right, folks, just me, no panel. I'll see if I can keep everybody entertained adequately, but I'd just like to start real quick. I don't know about you guys. I've been sitting in chairs all day listening to people talk. But everybody mind just standing up real fast with me, real fast. Put those hands up in the air. Deep breath in. Stretch it down to them toes. Oh. Bring it back up. I'm going to tell you right now, that has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk to you about today. I just wanted to do that. I was feeling a real Richard Simmons fitness instructor moment up here with this lavalier mic, and you only live once, want to take advantage of it. Plus, I listened to Allison Stoner talk this morning on the Invisalign stage outside about the importance of checking in with yourself. And I thought, if not now, when would be a better time than doing that than the first time I speak on stage at VidCon in front of a bunch of people. So thanks for indulging me. And also apologies to my friends in the front row. These lights are very bright, and this dome very bald. So yeah, this glare, we're going to get through it together. But as was mentioned, my name is David Adley. I'm the VP of Sales and Customer Support at Bonfire, to hit it on the nose very pointedly. And we're an online merch platform that helps nonprofits, communities, and of course creators raise money with custom merch absolutely free. And I've had the privilege of working directly with hundreds of content creators over my 7 years at Bonfire. And I also have a passion for great stories. So that's what I'm going to be getting into you guys today a little bit about, how to use your story to sell your merch. Because I feel like, and before I get into that, first, how many creators in the audience have launched custom merch before? Just put your hand up real quick. All right, and how many have thought about it but haven't pulled the trigger? There we go. All right, so no matter which camp you're in, I feel like the narrative around merch is, it kind of feels like this box that you have to check along your creator journey now. Everybody's doing it. I got to launch merch, kind of NASCAR style. Throw up a storefront, put the brand on it, lots of products, give people lots of options. In theory, it sounds really good, but in my experience, there's definitely a better way to do it with more intentionality and with one that actually connects your merch to the story that you want to tell to your community and build that community closer to you ultimately. So my little background about me, in particular with storytelling, I have a passion for it, and where did I get it? I got it from my mama, and that is her up on stage right there. That's Kim Adley, folks, a living legend. You can imagine from the pictures, childhood was fun. She didn't dress like this 100% of the time, I promise, but I kid you not, her actual job title is professional storyteller. You can look her up, Characters by Kim. She's a former school teacher, and she just couldn't stay out of the classroom. When my brother and I were growing up through elementary school, she volunteered, would come in, read the kids' stories in these funny accents. Those stories and accents developed into over 16 different characters that she now has her own business with and goes into school assemblies and just really delights kids all day, every day. And that really inspired me as a young kid, watching her just go out there and express her creativity boldly and often and doing what she loved, which I'd imagine is something a lot of the creators in the room can relate to. She's an OG. I keep telling her she needs to be on TikTok. She doesn't listen to me. But eventually, she let me tag along with her. Look at little David there. Violin, raccoon skin cap, full head of hair. You didn't know how good you had it, kid. Anyway, I would bring my violin along with me on some of her story time sessions. And this one in particular, I believe, was Anna the Pioneer Lady. That was the name of this character. We were probably out looking to go down the Oregon Trail, pioneer the New West, maybe stop at a hootenanny. That's a little taste. And I would play my fiddle for kids my age at these school assemblies, and it was just such an empowering experience to go out there and really put my stamp on something creative. And I kind of took that with me, that lesson, through the rest of my life. Storytelling just so interwoven in the fabric of who we are as people. Did you catch that little merch metaphor? And I think that for me, I wanted to take that journey, and that's all I wanted to do, was play music, go out and express myself doing the thing I loved. And Jordan, roll the clip. that's my attempt to humanize myself. Not just a suit who schleps t-shirts. I was once, I wouldn't refer to myself then probably as, but in hindsight, I was a creator. I was a musician in a band just trying to make it, doing what I loved, playing violin in front of people. Nothing brought me more joy. So I really understand, I think, the struggle, and I think that's really the right word for it, that creators go through to just try to make ends meet, to do what they love and truly express themselves, tell their unique story to the world in a way that connects really well with a community and an audience. And we did it all. We sold merch. Our friend did a crowdfunding campaign on behalf of our album, the whole bit. And even though I'm no longer a full-time creator in the shirt game these days, there are 50 million people out there, which is just a staggering stat and it's growing every day, who consider themselves creators. And, on all the big name platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, Twitch, Etsy, you name it, people are out there trying to tell their stories to the world. And with so many things pulling people in different directions, you really have to find a way to get your story to stand out to your community. Give them something to latch onto. Easier said than done to cut through all the noise. And that brings us to the question, why launch merch? And as you're probably reading through the lines already, it's not because it should be a box that you just want to check on your way to being whatever it is that you think a creator has to be. I think there's a really intentional way to do it, and I know there is because that's what I've seen through my experience, and I'll show you a couple examples here in a minute, that's the best way to do it. One that's going to make the creator feel the best about themselves, most of the time make them the most money, and connect with their audience in the most meaningful way. So in addition to merch, we have all these other options. If you've been on other talks, panels throughout this week, you know that you can be pulled in tons of different directions in terms of how am I going to monetize myself, right? Licensing, advertising, consulting, affiliates, courses, events, subscriptions, you name it. There's so many different directions that you can be pulled in order to do this. But if we really break it down, we know that there's actually three main categories that make up the bulk of creator revenue. And those are advertising, consulting services, and then selling your products, AKA merchandise. So taking just those three and really focusing on them, the two that are in your control the most are consulting services and selling your products. Because advertising, as many of you probably know, are really at the whims of the companies that partner with you on the ads. So we've all heard about the adpocalypse, and even through the pandemic, I've heard reports of ad revenue fluctuating as much as 50% lower than what people are used to, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. So that leaves consulting and selling your products as two of the main drivers of income that you're in your control. Consulting, yeah, you can get there, but it takes a little while to build your brand to the point where you can actually expand into other markets that are outside of your core audience. So that's why I feel like people, especially in the early stages of creating content and putting yourself out there to a community, should really be focusing on merch as a main driver of revenue that's within your control. Now, even though it's so important, I think if any creators in the room have launched merch, or if they haven't, they've probably heard some horror stories about their friends putting themselves out there with merch and then it totally flops. And there's no worse feeling in the world than putting something out there that isn't received well by your community, especially after you've put a lot of work into it. And there's a number of reasons that can happen. For example, maybe the timing just wasn't right. Maybe you just did a brand deal and your audience was overexposed and they just didn't have the bandwidth to support you in terms of a merch drop. Maybe the design was bad. Maybe that it was a combination of a number of different factors. But for me, what it really comes down to is there wasn't something emotionally resonant more often than not that tied your merch back to a story that your community has already really bought into, and you had a really tough time promoting it, getting in front of them in a meaningful way that felt authentic and actually connected with them. So that brings us to the paradox of merch. Most creators, and again, maybe some of you in the room can relate to this, are a team of one or maybe max 2 to 3 people helping you out. It's the very small minority of creators that have a team bigger than that can focus on all those different revenue streams, in addition to merch, that can help make your money and tell your story. So with so little people, especially if it's just you, obviously, there to help you out, it's really tough to ride the line between, do I feel like I'm just punishing myself and shilling products all the time to my audience in order to make ends meet so that I can actually do the thing that I want to do, which for me create music. For you, maybe it's vlogging, telling your story, being your authentic self in some way. And in this case, that leads, as you've no doubt seen all these headlines, to a lot of burnout. And it's no surprise why, because you feel like you have to do all these different things that ultimately take away from the true reason why you became a creator in the first place. So that's where this graph comes in. And with merch in particular, it feels like, at least in my experience, the folks I've talked to, the more time that they put into it, the more insane they feel. Because they're trying to drive towards that ultimate goal of making revenue to free them up to create even better, more authentic content. But it's ultimately just continuing to feel less and less like what they actually want to be doing, and more like they're just wasting their time and just shilling product, which is a shitty feeling. So we want to get you to a place where you're putting in as little time as possible, as little effort as possible, while still giving you the chance to maximize your revenue so that you can free yourself up to focus on the things that matter most. And that brings me to limited edition merch. And this concept probably isn't totally unfamiliar to a lot of the creators in the room, but I really believe that it's worth focusing on for a number of different reasons. One, it gives you the time, effort, and energy to really just concentrate your efforts on a small, short campaign that drives engagement and gives you the chance to tie your merch meaningfully back to your actual story and build your community. So we found that when we aggregate a bunch of data from Bonfire's site, creators that sell a campaign, a drop if you will, in around the 21-day max period, make over 80% of the revenue across the entire platform. And over time, you can see that drops dramatically. So repeat buyers and sales are all correlated with campaign length. This shows you that if the creators who actually sell evergreen items, aka they try to push merch all year long to their fans in some form or fashion, not only do their sales dip hard, but their potential for repeat buyers dips hard too. So that's less and less people that are actually connecting with you in a meaningful way. That's your core audience leaving you in some sense. So the most staggering stat is that if you space your launches, your drops out 90 days or more, you're actually 4 times as likely to make more revenue than creators who continually push merch to their audience. And there's no better example than this than Dylan Mulvaney, who the timing couldn't be better. If you haven't checked her out on Instagram or TikTok, I highly recommend it. She's an incredibly engaging storyteller. And mad props to my girl Reagan in the back from Bonfire. There she is, dancing it up, because she worked directly with Dylan on this campaign, and it was a smashing success. And she came from a really modest start, to be honest. And I think what really resonated with her audience was the story. So I'll let her tell it in just a second, but a quick synopsis is she documented her first 100 days of her transition to being a girl, posted a TikTok every day that just candidly talked about her experience and related to her audience really well. Amazing storyteller with great engagement, but don't take it from me. Jordan, roll the clip.
It's day 100.
It's day 100!
It's day 100. It's day 100.
It's 100 days of being a girl. It's 100 days of...
Boink! It's day 100.
It's day 100.
Day 100 of being a girl. Love you, Dylan.
It's day 100.
It's day 100.
It's day 100.
It's day 100 of being a girl! The day is finally here! And I cannot believe how much my life has changed since day one. I mean, I was never expecting to make a video every day, and now I have over 5 million of you watching me grow into this girl. And I think today we should celebrate. I have merch, I have cake, I might even meet a follower, who knows? And there's gonna be multiple videos, so let's go! Woohoo! Bought those giant obnoxious number balloons because if there was ever a day for them, it's today. I'm doing a day 100 photo shoot and I'm getting my hair and makeup professionally done so that I can feel like my prettiest self today. And now it's time to get dressed. What am I gonna wear? Is it gonna be my first merch? Next video to find out. It's day 100! It's day 100! Love ya!
Amazing. Dylan actually launched 2 designs, the one you just saw in that video, and then this one right here. And I mean, you get it. Like, she launched at the climactic moment of her story that she was telling that her community really connected with. And it didn't feel inauthentic. It didn't feel like she was shilling merch or pushing product just for the sake of getting merch out there. It just felt like the next natural progression in her story. And her community responded that way too. You saw it in the video. They were hyped for it before she even got it out there. So it just all really made sense. It was natural and organic. And on day one of the drop, she sold over 2,000 products and is continuing to sell really well. She just expertly connected her story back to her merch. Another great example is this channel, Keep Your Daydream. They're lifestyle vloggers. They're a couple, Mark and Trish, who were working their 9-to-5 jobs, left it to try out this 6-month experimental adventure in an RV, traveling the United States, living the dream, as they say, and documented it along the way. And all the while, they were checking off their bucket list items as their summer to remember. And ultimately, they created this really compelling story, the Summer to Remember story, that has resonated with their audience for the last 5 years. They've been doing this campaign on Bonfire for the last 5 years, and they do just 1 drop a year. That's it. And it lasts for 2 weeks, and then sometimes they'll reopen it for like 1 week, just in case there's some people who didn't get the chance to check out. But what's really interesting about them, they're nowhere near the biggest creator that's ever launched on our site in terms of subscriber counts. But again, that's really not the emphasis here. It's really, what's the story? Does your community engage with it? That's what makes a case for compelling merch. And they are by far and away the best-selling creator of all time on our platform. And Jordan, if you'll roll this clip, they'll tell you a little bit more about it.
Okay, now, one of the things that we love most about the Summer to Remember merch is that we can connect with people, like see people as we're out and about doing their adventure and making connections.
Out in the wild.
Out in the wild. So be sure to use the hashtag on Instagram, Facebook, or just send us an email, hashtag Summer to Remember, so that we can tag along on your summer adventures.
And you should know that $1 for every single t-shirt is going to Team Rubicon, so they can hit the field running to help people that are in need after they've been struck through a natural disaster or something happened in their community. They do amazing work, and we're so excited to support them.
One more quick example on this front is Acorn to Arabella. Again, another relatively modest-sized channel. They've got a really cool story. They're building a boat from stump to stern, as they say, a 38-foot wooden sailboat, and they're documenting the whole journey along the way. And their fans have really latched onto this. They want to see how they're building, what they're going to do next, what part of the ship they're building next, what guest builders they're building in. It's been a really amazing thing to see them build their community over time. And they're very prototypical in kind of the data model that I showed earlier. They're doing drops every 3 to 4 months or so. Their most recent one sold about 2,000 products, and the story behind this one, they had a guest builder on, was just doing a little doodle on the boat. Some fan commented on their channel that they really liked it, and they chose to immortalize it in the shirt. And again, it just felt very natural and organic. They tied it back into the story of what they knew already resonates with their community, didn't go NASCAR style and throw something up there for the sake of throwing it up there on a bunch of products. So you heard Mark and Trish in the Keep Your Daydream example mention that they were donating $1 per shirt to Team Rubicon, a cause near and dear to their hearts. And tying in social responsibility is another great way to, one, connect people back to your story. They want to know what you care about, what causes that you support, because they're fans of you and they love you, and ultimately they want to support what you want to support. So social responsibility is such a unique component to telling your story and ultimately tying that back into merch is, one, on an individual level, it tends to make the campaigns more lucrative because people are more willing to give. And then two, it just benefits the planet and the community. So it's a win-win. And you've probably heard of this guy up here. I feel like he gets mentioned in just about every presentation that I've been at VidCon, but I actually heard a really great quote from the president of MrBeast in a talk that he gave a couple days ago. He said that when he sits down with Jimmy, MrBeast, they always talk about how they want to make merch a moment. I'm definitely going to steal that. And I believe that applies to everybody, whether you're Jimmy's size or any size at all in terms of your subscribers and followers. You want to make merch a moment. And I feel like they also have done an amazing job, obviously, with campaigns that you've probably heard about, Team Trees, Team Seas, getting the community involved and tying back these moments into really great opportunities to do better for the planet and make an impact. So another case study here are Twitch streamers. I think this is really taken up in a big way in the live streaming world. We've seen them raise millions of dollars for causes that they care about. And again, they're getting people to buy into it because it's just authentic. It's something that they really believe in and that they want to support. And it's very similar to thinking about brand deals. I've heard some great panels this week about you don't have to sell out in order to sign an effective brand deal. The same goes for the things that you're passionate about socially and want to generate awareness with your unique community. Find something that is actually resonant with you, and it's going to resonate with your supporters. Now, how this ties back into merch is we found that 55% of people are willing to pay more for products and services provided by companies that are committed to making an impact in the social and environmental justice spaces. So they're definitely willing to pay that premium, which means you can budget even more money into the price that you set for your merch while donating more back to a cause and then making the campaign ultimately more successful for yourself. Great example of this is Kyle Krieger. Great dude to check out on Instagram, LGBTQ+ activist, writer, director, filmmaking, model, activist, and brother to Ali Krieger on the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. Yeah, tough growing up in that family. He participated in the AIDS Life Cycle event for the last 3 years, and he's done these campaigns with these awesome designs for Pride Month. The last one raised nearly $13, but the unique element about merch, in addition to regular donations, which will always have a place, probably are always going to be the thing that raises the most money generally for a great cause, is that they generate awareness and they have that very visual appealing element that builds community. So what he's told us directly is that he really appreciates when he's actually out there biking on behalf of this event that he's super passionate about, he can see fans of his and supporters that are out there wearing his shirt. So this is a way to say, hey, I'm going to find you out there in the community. What if we saw each other wearing this shirt? It would be pretty cool. I love this man. Mark Rebier, if you haven't had a chance to check him out, I highly recommend it, AKA Loop Daddy. He just injects a little life and positivity into your day when you need it the most. He's insanely talented, loop artist, and his story was that he was getting ready to go on his first tour. It got canceled, much like a lot of things, due to the pandemic. But he flipped the script, and he ended up launching a stream where he partnered with a really cool artist, put the designs on Bonfire, called it bonfire.com/quarantstream, and I'll let Mark take it from here. Jordan, roll that clip.
The quarantine tour in support of coronavirus, bonfire.com/quarantstream. That's where you get your limited edition merchandise. It's only available for the length of these streams. It's really dope. Original art by Ryan Bach. And then, of course, below is the number that you can call me at. So that's where we're at. I'm in the VIP. Viva, vivu, very important. I'm very very important. I'm very important. I gotta be, but I'm very important. You know what gotta be, cause I'm very important. I'm very important. I got dad, 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 I'm very important.
What a legend. So again, check Mark out. Great dude. But look at our boy. Raised over $34,000 for coronavirus relief in just a single drop. And you can see him there with the actual social proof, and delivered over 3,000 products to his fans in the process. All the while bringing community. I think the most important aspect of this is the ability to bring communities together who otherwise wouldn't have probably been donating to the same cause because maybe they like this artist that he commissioned to do this limited edition design. Maybe they're just trying to find a cool way to support coronavirus relief. Maybe they like Mark. In any case, really bridging the gap between communities. And last but certainly not least, Christina Corbin. Again, I want to emphasize relatively modest font. Again, shout out to my girl Reagan in the back who worked directly with Christina, reached out to her as she saw that she was a Ukrainian influencer on the front lines of the Russian invasion, still out there documenting everything. She started out as a finance, investment content, and really pivoted when the Russian invasion took place and started to share about how people could help out, what they could do to spread awareness about the cause, and stop spreading misinformation. So she worked with Don Lemon here at CNN after the campaign got picked up, and I'll let Don talk a little bit about what's next. Go ahead, Jordan.
You're doing all you can do, Christina, to help those in need, including selling pro-Ukraine T-shirts and hoodies. You've established a fundraising campaign that it's already raised over $28,000. Can you tell us just a little bit more about both of these projects and how our viewers can help if they want to?
Yes, absolutely. I have set up two donation funds. One is a monetary one where people can simply donate financially, and the other that you spoke of is a collaboration with Bonfire. They helped me set everything up, and that is the Ukrainian merch with the famous phrase of where the warship was sent and what the street signs in Ukraine have been changed to. And people can find that in my social media bios, and those are two ways that they can donate directly through me. But obviously people should always donate wherever they feel comfortable. There's more than one.
All right, so I don't want to set false expectations. Not every campaign is going to get picked up by CNN, but still pretty dang cool, right? So in this particular campaign, pre-CNN even, she sold around 1,600 products, and then once our boy Don picked it up, she sold over 3,000 products in total, so over $46,000 raised in the effort of Ukrainian relief. All right, so just to recap, two big things we hit on: the power of limited edition merch, and why it's generally, again, there's exceptions to every rule, the way to go as opposed to evergreen storefronts for most creators. Again, you have the potential in a lot of cases to quadruple your revenue while putting in actually less effort over time to keep your sanity, because you're really just concentrating your effort on telling a good story for that particular drop and not feeling like you're just chilling product, which nobody wants to feel that way, least of all your audience. And then two, the social responsibility aspect. Certainly a great way to incorporate that into your story, and even better if you can incorporate that into your merch, because it makes people more likely to buy, give, and ultimately pay a premium for the products that you're trying to sell. So at the end of the day, our vision at Bonfire is to strengthen communities that inspire a kinder world. And that, frankly, wouldn't be possible without creators who have used our platform, shared their amazing stories, and allowed us to fulfill some really cool merch items like some of the ones I've shared with you today. Frankly, those examples just scratch the surface, I think, of the potential that creators have to really utilize this type of platform for themselves, for the good of the planet, with some of these more socially responsible campaigns. And one last thing I did want to call attention to in regard to those socially responsibility campaigns, I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned today, and we actually saw a really amazing response to this when the decision was leaked earlier on. And my girl Elise right here, if you wouldn't mind standing up, she's wearing a design that a creator on Bonfire designed and uploaded to our site, and has raised a ton of money. There's been so many creators that have already done so. So it's a really great way to have a visual response and a quick turnkey response when moments like this pop up in the pop culture zeitgeist, and give you a way to feel like you can empower your community to take action, spread awareness in the case of Elise, send a message out there that you want to put out into the world, and make a little money at the same time. So with that, that's all I have, and we do have a little surprise for you all. There's a little giveaway here. Under your seats, there's 3 envelopes, so 3 lucky people if you check under your seats for $100 gift cards. If you don't find them under your seat, they may be under some empty ones, so it could be a fun little scavenger hunt in here. In any case, there's 3 of them. So after you have finished looking out, we'll be in the back taking some questions. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.